Hello everyone, welcome back to Long English Story. Today's story is about unconditional love, painful memories, and a promise that survives even when memories disappear. This emotional journey follows only two people, Arif and Maya, as they discover that true love is remembered not only by the mind, but also by the heart. Excuse me, I'm really sorry if this sounds strange, but I woke up this morning and found your photograph on my bedside table. I don't remember who you are, yet somehow your smile feels strangely familiar. Have we met before, or is there something important that my memory has taken away from me?
We have met, Maya. In fact, we've shared more beautiful moments together than I could ever count. My name is Arif, and every single morning I have the privilege of introducing myself to you again. It hurts sometimes, but seeing you smile is always worth starting over.
You're speaking as if we've known each other for years, but I honestly can't remember anything. I feel guilty because you're looking at me with so much warmth, while I'm looking at you like a complete stranger.
Please don't blame yourself. None of this is your fault. I promised myself a long time ago that even if your memories disappeared 1,000 times, my love for you never would.
Why would someone make a promise that difficult? Most people would eventually become tired, frustrated, or simply walk away.
Because loving someone isn't only about enjoying the easy days. Sometimes love means standing beside a person during the hardest chapters of their life, even when they no longer remember your name.
I don't understand why, but hearing you speak makes my heart feel peaceful. It's almost as if my mind has forgotten you, but my heart is quietly trying to remember.
Maybe memories can disappear from the brain, but genuine love leaves fingerprints on the soul that time can never completely erase.
That's one of the most beautiful things anyone has ever said to me, even if I can't remember hearing it before.
Then, let's make today another beautiful memory, even if tomorrow we have to begin our story all over again.
I found this notebook beside my bed, and every page is filled with my own handwriting. The first sentence says, "If you've forgotten Arif again, please don't be afraid. He's the safest person you'll ever meet." Did I really write all of this?
Yes, you did. On one of your better days, you realized your memories might continue fading, so you decided to leave messages for your future self. You wanted every version of yourself to know that I wasn't someone to fear, I was someone to trust.
Reading these words feels so strange because they sound exactly like me, yet I can't remember writing a single sentence. It's like another version of Maya is trying to speak to the person I've become today.
That's exactly how I see it. Every note is a small bridge connecting yesterday's Maya with today's Maya, making sure that even when memories disappear, hope doesn't disappear with them.
One page says, "If Arif is smiling, smile back. He always smiles to make you feel safe." Did I really notice something so small?
You noticed everything. You used to tell me that my smile appeared even on the days when I was secretly falling apart inside.
I wish I could remember saying that. It sounds like the words of someone deeply in love.
You were, and I still believe you are. Love doesn't always need memories to exist. Sometimes it simply finds its way back on its own.
You're making me emotional, even though my mind keeps insisting that we only met a few minutes ago.
Then maybe your heart already knows what your memory hasn't caught up with yet.
Arif, I found a video on my phone this morning. It was recorded by me, but I don't remember making it. I was smiling at the camera, and the first thing I said was, "If you're watching this, you've probably forgotten everything again." Hearing my own voice say those words made me cry because it felt like I was listening to a stranger who knew me better than I know myself.
I remember the day you recorded that video. You told me that if your memories ever disappeared completely, you wanted to leave little pieces of yourself behind. You hoped those videos would remind you that your life wasn't only filled with sadness, it was also filled with laughter, adventures, and people who loved you more than anything.
Then the video showed you standing behind the camera, laughing because I kept forgetting my lines. Even though I couldn't remember that moment, Seeing your smile made me smile too. Why does my heart react to someone my mind can't recognize?
Because love doesn't always live inside memories. Sometimes it lives inside emotions. Your mind may forget my name every morning, but your heart still remembers how safe it feels whenever I'm standing beside you.
At the end of the video, I looked directly into the camera and said, "Please don't push Arif away just because you can't remember him. He's carrying enough pain already." I couldn't stop crying after hearing those words because I could see how much my past self cared about you.
I cried the first time you recorded it too. You smiled while making the video, but the moment you turned the camera off, you hugged me and whispered that you were terrified of becoming a stranger to the person you loved most.
Did I really say that?
Every single word, and I promised you that no matter how many times you forgot me, I would never allow you to face this illness alone. I wanted you to wake up every morning knowing someone would always be there waiting for you.
I don't know how someone can love another person with that much patience. If our situations were reversed, I'm honestly not sure I would have been as strong as you have been.
Maya, real love isn't measured by how easy it is to stay. It's measured by the reasons you choose to stay, even when every day asks you to begin the story from the very first page again.
You brought me to this beautiful little cafe today, and I noticed something unusual. Every employee greeted us with warm smiles, almost as if they've known us for years. Have we really been coming here together for that long?
We came here on our very first date, almost 3 years ago. You ordered hot chocolate instead of coffee, because you said coffee made you too serious. And you wanted our first conversation to be full of laughter, instead of nervous silence.
That's exactly the kind of thing I would say. Even though I can't remember it, it sounds like the version of myself I wish I could become again.
You don't have to become her again. She's still here. Every time you laugh at one of my terrible jokes, or smile at a stranger, I see the same Maya I fell in love with all those years ago.
While we were sitting here, I suddenly felt something strange. For just a second, I had a flash of memory. I saw you sitting across from me, holding a tiny flower, and I heard myself laughing. Then, it disappeared.
You remembered that, Maya. That actually happened. I was too nervous to buy real flowers. So I picked a tiny wildflower from outside and apologized because it wasn't expensive enough.
And what did I say?
You looked at me with the biggest smile and said, "A flower picked with love is worth more than 1,000 expensive gifts given without a heart." That sentence has stayed with me every single day since then.
I can't believe those words came from me. Maybe somewhere deep inside, my memories are still fighting to come back.
And whether they return tomorrow, next year, or never at all, I'll still be sitting across from you, ready to tell you our story again.
Arif, while I was looking through the notebook today, a folded letter slipped out from between the pages. It had your handwriting on the front, but it also had a note saying, "Only read this if one day I become too afraid to tell you the truth." I haven't opened it yet because I felt it belonged to a part of our story I no longer remember. Before I read it, I want to hear from you. What truth have you been carrying alone all this time?
I wrote that letter on one of the hardest nights of my life. You had just fallen asleep after forgetting my name for the 3rd morning in a row. And I realized that one day you might completely forget every moment we've ever shared. I was terrified that I would become a stranger, standing beside the woman I loved. So I poured every fear, every promise, and every hope into that letter, because I wasn't brave enough to say those words while looking into your eyes.
Hearing you say that breaks my heart. Every day I wake up thinking I'm the only one suffering, but I never stop to imagine what this illness has done to you. You have been grieving the same person every morning, yet somehow you still greet me with a smile instead of tears. I honestly don't know where you find that kind of strength.
The truth is, I'm not as strong as you think. After you fall asleep every night, there are moments when I sit alone, wondering whether tomorrow will be the day you forget me forever. I've cried more times than I can count, but I always wipe my tears away before sunrise, because I never wanted your first memory of the day to be my sadness.
I wish I could remember every sacrifice you've made for me. It feels unfair that you carry all of our memories while I wake up with empty pages every single morning. Sometimes I feel like I'm stealing your happiness without even realizing it, and that thought hurts more than not remembering.
Please don't ever think that. You never stole anything from me. Loving you has always been my choice, and I would choose the same life again, even if I knew exactly how difficult it would become. My love was never based on perfect memories, it was built on the person you are, not the condition you're fighting.
Then let me make you another promise. Even if I forget making it tomorrow, every single day that I wake up, I'll give you the chance to introduce yourself again. I'll listen to your stories, laugh at your jokes, and fall in love with you one more time. Because if my heart keeps choosing you without memories, then maybe that's the purest kind of love that exists.
Maya, that's the most beautiful promise you've ever made to me. You may forget saying it tomorrow morning, but I never will. I'll protect those words just like I've protected every memory we've ever created together, because they're now part of the story I carry for both of us.
Would you do something for me? If there ever comes a day when I completely lose myself and even my heart can't recognize you anymore, don't disappear quietly. Fight for me. Tell me our story again and again, until either my memories return, or your voice becomes the memory my heart refuses to forget.
I promise you this with everything I have. Whether it takes 1 day, 1 year, or the rest of my life, I'll keep telling you our story. I'll remind you who you are, who we are, and why our love is worth remembering. Even if the whole world forgets us, I never will.
Arif, something happened this morning that I can't explain. I woke up expecting the same emptiness I've felt every day for so long, but instead of asking who you were, your name escaped my lips before I even opened my eyes. I whispered, Arif, without thinking, and for a brief moment, it felt as if my heart had reached my memories before my mind could erase them. Have you ever experienced a miracle so small that it completely changes the way you look at life?
The moment I heard you say my name, I stood frozen beside the bedroom door, because I couldn't believe what I had just heard. For months, I've prepared myself to answer the same heartbreaking question every morning. Yet today, before I had the chance to introduce myself, you remembered the one thing I had been praying you'd never lose. I wanted to cry, laugh, and hug you all at the same time, but I was too afraid that if I moved too quickly, the moment would disappear like a dream.
The strange part is that I still can't remember every detail of our life together. I can't tell you what we ate on our first date or where we spent our happiest holiday. But when I looked into your eyes today, they didn't feel unfamiliar anymore. They felt like home. It's as though my memories are still lost somewhere in the darkness, but my heart has already found its way back to you.
You have no idea how many nights I imagined hearing those words. I used to sit beside your bed after you fell asleep, and silently wonder if the woman I loved would ever recognize me again. I promised myself that I would never expect anything in return for my love. Yet hearing you call my name today felt like receiving every answer I had been waiting for without asking a single question.
I still feel guilty because I know there are hundreds of memories you've protected alone, while I kept waking up to a life I couldn't recognize. But today I realized something important. Maybe love isn't about remembering every moment perfectly. Maybe it's about choosing the same person again and again, even when life gives you every reason to walk away.
That's exactly what I've believed from the beginning. Memories are precious, but they can fade. Beauty changes, time moves on, and people grow older. The one thing that survives all of that is the decision to keep loving someone every single day. That's the decision I made for you, and it's the same decision I'd make 1,000 times over, without hesitation.
If my memories continue returning little by little, I know there will still be difficult days ahead. There may be mornings when I forget your face again, or nights when I wake up frightened because I can't understand my own life. But after everything you've done for me, I'm no longer afraid of tomorrow because I finally understand that no matter what happens to my memory, I'll never have to face it alone.
And you'll never have to. If tomorrow is another difficult morning, I'll be there with breakfast, your favorite flowers, and the same introduction I've practiced so many times. If tomorrow is a beautiful morning where you remember everything, I'll celebrate with you. No matter which version of tomorrow arrives, I'll still choose to stand beside you, because loving you has never depended on what kind of day we're having.
Then let me say something that I hope I never forget again. Thank you for loving the version of me that laughed with you, the version that cried with you, and even the version that woke up every morning believing you were a stranger. You never made me feel broken. Instead, you made me feel worthy of being loved exactly as I am, and that's a gift more valuable than anything this world could ever offer.
Maya, our story was never about losing memories. It was about proving that true love doesn't live inside photographs, notebooks, or yesterday's moments. It lives in every choice we make today. And if tomorrow asks me to introduce myself to you all over again, I'll smile, hold your hand, and say, "Hello, Maya. My name is Arif, and I'd love to fall in love with you again."
Arif, would you come outside with me for a little while? The sky looks unusually clear tonight, and for some reason I feel like my heart has been asking me to stand beneath these stars with you. I don't know if it's another memory trying to find its way back or simply a feeling I can't explain, but I don't want to ignore it. Sometimes the quietest moments tell us the biggest truths.
Of course I will. Do you remember this hill? Years ago, when life was much simpler, we used to come here whenever we felt overwhelmed. You once told me that the stars reminded you that even when clouds hide them for a while, they never truly disappear. Hearing you say those words gave me hope during every difficult day after your illness began.
I still can't clearly remember that night, but when you describe it, something inside me becomes strangely calm. It's as if my soul recognizes these memories even when my mind refuses to cooperate. I wish I could tell you how frustrating it is to feel pieces of my past brushing against me without ever being able to hold on to them completely.
You don't have to force those memories to return. The greatest mistake we could make is believing that our happiness depends only on yesterday. Every new day we spend together becomes another beautiful chapter. And someday those new memories may become just as meaningful as the old ones we lost.
You know, before meeting you, or at least before remembering you, I always believed love meant never letting go. But you've shown me something much deeper. Real love isn't holding on to the past. It's having the courage to build a future together, even when the past keeps slipping through your fingers.
Hearing you say that makes every difficult morning worthwhile. There were nights when I questioned whether I was doing the right thing by staying. Not because I wanted to leave, but because I worried that seeing me every day might only remind you of everything you couldn't remember. Then I'd see your smile, and every doubt would disappear.
If I could give you back every memory you've lost because of me, I would. I know this illness hasn't only stolen parts of my life, it has also stolen dreams we planned together. Yet despite everything we've been through, you've never once made me feel like I was a burden. Instead, you've made me feel like someone worth fighting for.
Maya, listen to me carefully, because I want you to remember this, even if only your heart remembers it. You have never been a burden, not for a single second. Loving you has been the greatest privilege of my life, and every challenge we've faced has only taught me how precious our time together truly is.
Then let me make one final promise beneath these stars. Whether I remember tomorrow, forget tomorrow, or spend the rest of my life searching for memories that never return, I will never stop choosing you. My heart has already made that decision, and I trust it more than I trust my memory.
And I promise that every sunrise will be another chance for us to begin again. If tomorrow you wake up remembering everything, I'll celebrate with you. If tomorrow you wake up asking who I am, I'll smile the same way I always do, hold your hand gently, and proudly say, I'm Arif, the man who will never stop falling in love with you.
Arif, please don't answer yet. Just let me talk for a moment, because I'm afraid that if I stop speaking, I'll lose these thoughts before I have the chance to share them with you. This morning was different from every other morning. When I opened my eyes, I didn't feel lost. I didn't panic. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I remembered your face. Before I saw you standing beside the bed.
Maya, I've dreamed about hearing those words for so long that I almost forgot what they sounded like. Every morning I prepared myself to introduce who I was, hoping that one day you would stop me before I finished. Today, when you smiled and whispered, "Good morning, Arif," I stood there speechless, because I realized I was living the moment I'd prayed for hundreds of times.
I won't pretend that everything has suddenly returned. There are still empty spaces in my memory, and there are still years that feel blurred like an old photograph. But I remembered our first walk in the rain, the tiny cafe where you nervously held my hand, the little flower you picked because you couldn't afford an expensive bouquet, and the way you looked at me as if I were the most important person in your world. Those memories came back one after another, and I cried because they finally felt like they belonged to me again.
I watched those tears fall, and for the first time they weren't tears of confusion or fear. They were tears of recognition. I wanted to tell you every story I'd been protecting for us, but then I realized I didn't have to anymore. You weren't borrowing my memories, you were finding your own way back to them, one beautiful moment at a time. That was the happiest moment of my entire life.
There's something I need to apologize for, even though you keep telling me I don't have to. I'm sorry for every birthday I forgot, every promise I couldn't remember making, every morning I looked at you like you were a stranger, and every night you had to carry both your pain and mine. I know none of it was my choice, but I still wish I could erase the sadness this illness brought into your life.
Maya, if you truly want to give me something, then promise me this instead. Never apologize for surviving. You fought a battle inside your own mind every single day, and somehow, you still found reasons to smile. That's not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of. If anyone deserves an apology, it's life for being so unfair to someone as kind as you.
You know what amazes me the most? Even when I forgot every detail about us, my heart never stopped feeling safe around you. I think that's the greatest proof that true love isn't stored in memories. It's written somewhere much deeper, somewhere that even illness couldn't reach. My mind may have lost its way, but my heart kept finding yours over and over again.
That's exactly why I never gave up. Every time you smiled without knowing why, every time you instinctively reached for my hand, and every time your eyes softened when you looked at me, I knew there was still a part of you that remembered our love. I wasn't waiting for your memory to return. I was waiting for your heart to remind your mind of what it had never truly forgotten.
Then let today be more than just another good day. Let it be the beginning of a new chapter. We may never recover every single memory we've lost, but we don't need to. From this moment forward, let's create so many beautiful memories together that one day we'll stop counting what disappeared and start celebrating everything we built after the storm.
That's exactly why I never gave up. Every time you smiled without knowing why, every time you instinctively reached for my hand, and every time your eyes softened when you looked at me, I knew there was still a part of you that remembered our love. I wasn't waiting for your memory to return. I was waiting for your heart to remind your mind of what it had never truly forgotten.
Arif, now that so many of my memories have returned, there's one question that has been quietly living in my heart all day. I've been afraid to ask it because I'm not sure I'm ready to hear the answer. During all those months when I woke up every morning without remembering your name, was there ever a moment when you stood by the door, looked at me sleeping, and seriously thought about leaving? I promise I won't be angry, I only want the truth.
Since you asked for the truth, I'll give it to you exactly as it happened. Yes, there was one night when I packed a small bag and stood near the front door for almost an hour. I wasn't leaving because I had stopped loving you. I was leaving because I convinced myself that maybe my presence was making your life harder. That perhaps you deserved the chance to start over without someone constantly reminding you of everything you had forgotten.
Hearing that hurts more than I expected, not because you wanted to leave, but because I never realized how lonely you must have felt. While I was trapped inside my own broken memories, you were carrying the weight of both our lives alone. I wish I had been able to hold your hand on those nights and remind you that even if I couldn't recognize your face, my heart had already chosen you long before my memories disappeared.
Do you know what stopped me from opening that door? Before I picked up my bag, I walked into your room one last time to say goodbye in silence. You were asleep, but as I turned around to leave, you reached out, held my hand without opening your eyes, and quietly whispered, "Please don't go." The next morning, you didn't remember saying those words, but they became the reason I stayed.
I don't remember that night at all, yet somehow it feels as though my heart was awake even while my memories were asleep. Maybe there really is a part of us that knows exactly who we love, even when our minds are too damaged to explain it. Knowing that I asked you to stay without even realizing it makes me believe our love was stronger than this illness from the very beginning.
After that night, I stopped asking myself whether I should leave. Instead, I started asking a different question every morning. How can I make Maya smile today? Some days, the answer was a simple breakfast. Some days it was reading your favorite book aloud. And some days, it was sitting quietly beside you until you felt safe again. Those little moments became the happiest parts of my life.
You know, people often say that true love is measured by grand gestures, expensive gifts, or dramatic sacrifices. But I don't think that's true anymore. I think true love is waking up every single morning, knowing the day will be difficult, and still choosing kindness instead of giving up. That's exactly what you did for me, and I don't think I'll ever find enough words to thank you.
You never have to thank me for loving you. If anything, I'm grateful to you. You taught me that love isn't about perfect days or perfect memories. It's about choosing the same person through every storm, every setback, and every painful chapter. Because of you, I discovered a version of myself that I never knew existed, a version capable of loving without expecting anything in return.
Then let me ask you one final question. If somehow life gave us the chance to go back in time, to the day before the accident happened, and you knew everything that our future would bring, the tears, the forgotten mornings, the sleepless nights, and all the pain we've endured, would you still choose me, knowing exactly how difficult our story would become?
Without a single second of hesitation. Yes, I would choose you in every lifetime, under every sky, and through every version of our story. Because even after all the tears we've shared, every difficult morning was still worth experiencing, if it meant I could spend one more ordinary day holding your hand. Loving you has never been the hardest part of my life, Maya. It has always been the greatest honor I could ever receive.
Arif, after everything we've been through, I finally understand something that I couldn't see before. For the longest time, I believed my illness had stolen the best years of our lives and left us with nothing but pain. But as I sit here beside you today, I realize those years weren't empty at all. They were filled with your patience, your kindness, your quiet sacrifices, and a love so constant that even my broken memories couldn't erase it. I may never remember every single day we lived together, but I will never forget the kind of man you chose to be when life became unfair to both of us.
Maya, if you could see yourself through my eyes, you would know that you were never the tragedy in our story. The illness was you remained the same beautiful, compassionate woman who apologized for things that were never her fault, smiled even when she was frightened, and somehow made me feel loved, despite believing you had forgotten everything. Every morning I introduced myself to you wasn't a punishment, it was another opportunity to remind the woman I loved that she was never alone, not even for a single moment.
Today, I don't want us to spend another minute mourning the memories we lost. Instead, I want us to celebrate the memories we're still able to create. I want spontaneous road trips, rainy afternoon walks, terrible cooking experiments that end with us ordering pizza, countless photographs, and evenings where we sit together talking until sunrise. If life has taught me anything, it's that tomorrow is never guaranteed, so I want to live every ordinary day with extraordinary gratitude.
That's exactly the future I've always imagined for us. Not a perfect life, because perfection doesn't exist, but an honest one. A life where we laugh a little louder after every hardship, hug each other a little tighter after every fear, and never allow ourselves to postpone happiness while waiting for the right time. After everything we've survived, I've realized that the right time is simply whenever we're together.
There's one last promise I'd like us to make, not because I'm afraid of forgetting again, but because promises have always given me hope. If another difficult season ever finds us, if life changes in ways we never expect, or if one day my memories become fragile again, promise me we won't let fear make our decisions. Promise me we'll keep talking, keep trusting, and keep choosing each other, even when the path ahead feels uncertain.
I promise you with all my heart. No matter what tomorrow brings, I will never measure our love by the number of memories we keep. I'll measure it by the way we hold each other's hands during difficult moments, by the way we refuse to give up after bad days, and by the way we continue believing in us even when the world tells us to stop. That's the kind of forever I want, a forever built on commitment rather than certainty.
Then let me tell you something I hope echoes in your heart for the rest of your life. You didn't just save me from loneliness, you saved me from believing I was impossible to love. Before today, I thought my illness defined who I was. But because of you, I finally understand that my condition is only one chapter of my story, not the title of my life. Thank you for loving the real Maya beneath all the confusion and forgotten days.
And thank you for teaching me that true love isn't proven during perfect moments. It's proven when two people refuse to stop believing in each other after life has tested every promise they've ever made. Our journey wasn't easy, and I would never pretend it was. But if someone asked me whether all the tears, sleepless nights, and repeated introductions were worth it, my answer would still be the same as it has always been: absolutely, because every single step led me back to you.
Then let's stop looking backward with sadness and start looking forward with hope. We can't rewrite yesterday, but we can write the most beautiful tomorrow imaginable. From this day onward, I don't want our story to be remembered as the story of a woman who lost her memory. I want it to be remembered as the story of two hearts that never stopped finding each other, no matter how many times life tried to pull them apart.
I couldn't imagine a more beautiful ending, or perhaps a more beautiful beginning. So if, many years from now, someone asks us the secret behind our love, I hope we'll smile, look at each other, and say this: real love isn't the one that never faces storms. Real love is the one that keeps choosing the same person after every storm has passed. And with that promise, Arif and Maya walked hand in hand toward a future that was no longer defined by forgotten memories, but by unforgettable love.
If you enjoyed this emotional story, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Long English Story for more powerful, emotional, and unforgettable English stories. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay kind, and we'll see you in the next story.